Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Leanna if you're new, and today we have a different kind of video in which I tell you my opinion about something. I feel like in the past videos of my channel I've really been trying to avoid really saying anything that is my opinion and just like trying to stick to, you know, superficial stuff like makeup and clothes and whatever. But then I realized that that's really boring and I don't think I want to do that. I think before I was just really scared of, you know, people disagreeing with me, people giving me hate comments or whatever, but in the end, I don't want this to just be like a superficial channel, I guess. Today's video is about toxic beauty standards and confidence and growing up and like, you know, being skinny and trying to be thick. Just all the stuff that I've experienced that is related to the whole like idea of beauty. And I think this is going to be a very important video for me to do, and I definitely want to do it right, so hopefully people can, you know, get something out of it. So yeah, let's get right into it. So for most of my life I was okay with how I looked in that I didn't really think about it. The only thing I really worried about was school and my grades, which is what a middle schooler should be worrying about. I have a number of insecurities, one of which being this mole and my freckles. I have freckles. I'm definitely one of those people who thought the whole like drawing freckles on your face was like a stupid trend. There are a lot of times where I feel like if I didn't have these dots on my face, then maybe I'd be a lot prettier. And today I still think that's true. My grandma used to look at the face all the time and point out how many freckles I had, and she would say it like, ooh, look at how many freckles you have. You know, she would say it like it's not the most positive thing in the whole world. And so that kind of made me hate my freckles. But a lot of people have told me that my freckles are a good thing and they're cute and stuff. I'm lucky enough that they're considered to be something cute. But can you imagine if they weren't? Then I would feel a lot worse about them. My other biggest insecurity is that my butt is flat. Growing up, I was always skinny, and I remember one time in 7th grade PE, I was telling my friend about how I don't have to exercise because I'm already skinny, and she said, yeah, but you're unhealthy skinny. And I'm like, huh. And I think that was the first time that I realized that I was skinny. But I didn't feel unhealthy. I feel like I ate a lot and I felt like I ate whatever I wanted. I was just naturally skinny, and she called me unhealthy skinny, which was like a really rude thing to do. And for most of my life I felt like it was the beauty standard, like the ideal beauty standard, to be skinny. I always felt at ease because, you know, oh, I already have the standard body type, I'm skinny. So I didn't really worry about my body too much. And then all of a sudden, I think it was around like 2014, I felt like there was a lot of pressure for skinny girls to be thick. And suddenly there was a lot of hate that was directed towards skinny girls, like we're perpetuating unhealthy body images or whatever. But I think when people make comments like that, they don't realize that sometimes people are just naturally skinny. I can't really pinpoint when was the turning point that made everybody want to be thick, but I think it was around the time that Nicki Minaj released her Anaconda video. I think from that point onwards, everybody just wanted to have a big ass. And the thing that makes me really upset about that whole thing is that there's this expectation that you have to be not just thick, you have to be slim thick, which is when, you know, your waist is really tiny, but your boobs and your butt are like really big, which is totally unrealistic because I feel like ever since I gained weight, yeah, my butt and my boobs grew, but so did my stomach. Like, it's just so unrealistic and unfair. I can't even tell you how upset I was that the beauty standards suddenly shifted from my body type into something completely different. And all of a sudden I felt like I needed to be thick. Suddenly I felt like I wasn't enough, but when the beauty standard was revolving around skinnier girls, I felt like I was. And for a while, the only thing I could see when I looked in the mirror was how flat my butt was and how skinny I was. I know that life isn't just about appearances, but it's really hard to just turn away from all of that. My mom used to point out all the time how skinny I was, and she would just look at me and be like, oh my god, you're so skinny, and she would like say it with such disgust and just like concern, to the point where she maybe thought that like I wasn't eating enough on purpose, but I'm like, no, I'm like eating as much as I feel like eating, you know, like I'm just naturally skinny. I was healthy. My BMI was like on the cusp of average weight and underweight, and I didn't see a problem with that. Whenever I went in for a physical, the doctor didn't say anything about my weight. You know, they didn't say that I needed to gain weight. But yeah, I mean, eventually I got kind of sick of her constantly telling me how skinny I was and constantly telling me that I needed to eat more, and like just constantly looking at me with this expression of like concern and disgust. Like, it was just so annoying. So I think that was one of the main things that really pushed me to gain weight. It didn't really hit me how skinny I was until I started getting into fitness, and I was watching a lot of these girls' fitness journeys on YouTube, and you know, most of them talk about how unhappy they were with their bodies before, and how, you know, they wanted to build their butt or whatever, and that kind of instilled in me the idea that I needed to build my butt, even though for most of my teenage years I was fine with my butt, but then all of a sudden I wasn't. My main motivation was that I hated my body, and I don't think that is a very good reason to be going to the gym. I think it's fine to like have goals and stuff, but when your only goal is to change the way you look, I think that can be very emotionally and physically exhausting. I would always think that maybe if my butt was bigger, you know, I would look a lot better in these leggings or this dress. Now though, I feel like I go to the gym to be healthy and be strong, and I feel like that's a good thing. My attention has kind of shifted away from growing my butt, and I feel like my mindset towards it now is way healthier than it was before. So I'm pretty happy about that, and you know, now I see like the gym as a place to just let loose instead of like a place where I need to grow my butt. So it's taken a lot of pressure off of me, I think. Gymshark, if you don't know, is a clothing brand, and they sell fitness attire and fitness apparel. And you'd think that's all there is, you know, they're just trying to sell clothes. But it's like so much more than that. About a year ago, I was like really into buying their clothes, and I just like followed them on the social medias and like followed their athletes. So basically Gymshark has Gymshark athletes, which are social media influencers who are really fit, really beautiful, and the athletes advertise their clothes on like YouTube or Instagram and stuff. And on their website, they don't use any of their athletes to model their clothes. They use like other models. And so on their Instagram, they have athletes, and on their websites, they just have the regular models. One thing that you'd notice is that the models on their website wearing their clothes were skinnier than most of the athletes. The athletes were usually very muscular and had bigger butts and, you know, smaller waists. Both athletes and models were very fit, but on the website, the models were noticeably skinnier. And there was a comment under one of Gymshark's Instagram photos, and it said, you should use these models on your website instead of the anorexic ones. So basically they were saying that the Gymshark athletes are the ideal body type, and that's what you should be using on the website instead of the skinnier models. And I can't believe that a woman would say that about other women. And it just makes me feel like a lot of the toxic beauty standards in modern society comes from other women instead of men. And some of it comes from rappers who rap about wanting a big booty hoe. I was just really taken aback upon reading that comment, because virtually nobody was mad at that comment. But God knows that if that comment was directed towards like bigger girls, there would be an uproar in the comments. Second of all, the models on the website were the only Gymshark models that looked like me. I do not look like any of the athletes. You know, my waist is bigger, my butt is flatter, and I felt like I looked closer to the girls that they used on their website instead of their Instagram. And for someone to comment on their Instagram like, you should use these models on your website instead of the anorexic ones, that was just really just offensive. The models on the website were the only ones that looked like me, and they helped me feel better about my body, because I'm like, okay, so, you know, a fit girl, a beautiful fit girl doesn't have just one look, you know? I've gained a lot of weight, and I don't really see myself as a super skinny girl anymore, but I can't even tell you how frustrated I was at some point that my butt didn't even grow. And I feel like it's been really hard for me to grow my butt, even though, trust me, I am doing all the right stuff, I feel like. I'm definitely happier with where it is now, even though it's nowhere close to any of the butts that you see on Instagram. I want to be healthy and I want to look like it, And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it just wasn't healthy the way I was looking at it before, because I was like, I hate my body, I need to grow my butt is so flat, you know, like I think I'm really glad that my focus has shifted away from that. In 6th grade, this kid called me an ugly ass bitch. I think mostly that just was that one kid being really fucking annoying, and honestly I didn't really take it to heart because I didn't believe it, you know, but it was still something that stuck with me throughout most of middle school and for part of high school. For example, like in 9th grade, there was this boy that I liked and he liked me back, but I didn't know. And I just didn't believe that he could like me. I just didn't have a sense of self-esteem. There were clear-cut signs that he liked me back, but I just didn't want to believe it. I got my first boyfriend when I was 15. Unfortunately, because I never learned how to be confident on my own outside of reassurance from males, I relied on him a lot to reassure me that I was pretty. And he definitely did give me a lot of confidence. And it really sucks that it had to come from someone else instead of from within. I think it was very important for me because in that relationship was the first time that I really learned how to be confident. And I think I came away from that relationship feeling more confident than I had ever felt before. From that relationship, I was able to realize that I was worthy of love and that I was pretty enough to date and that I was attractive. And I feel like a lot of that low self-esteem before that first boyfriend was from a lot of my friends getting more male attention than me. And it just makes you wonder, you know, like, what's wrong with me? I would look at them and compare myself to them and wonder what it was about them that boys liked that I didn't have. Eventually, I came to realize that it was just because I was shy and also because I was kind of a bitch. But at the time, I really thought it was because my friends were prettier than me and that I was, like, ugly. Growing up is really hard because teenagers and kids can just be really judgmental. I was definitely not like a pretty girl in middle school. Like I didn't wear makeup and didn't dress up or anything. I just wore whatever. My mom dressed me until I was in like 7th grade. Most of high school, I feel like people rarely noticed me. I was really shy and I hung out with the Asian nerds. Dressing up, wearing makeup, and wearing nice clothes, it wasn't really like a priority among the nerd group, if you will. So every time I would do something different, like put on makeup or like wear something different, I feel like people would point that out and just be like, ooh, you're wearing boots today, who are you? I don't even know you anymore, who are you trying to become? Blah, 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 blah. And I feel like that's very damaging, especially when you're like 14 and all you were trying to do is like develop a sense of style, and then all of a sudden your friends are like asking you who you're trying to be or like who you're trying to impress. Like, nobody. Me, leave me alone. Just like when I went platinum blonde a couple months ago, people kept telling me that I was turning into an Asian baby girl. In reality, no, I wasn't. My hair just changed and that's it. It just really sucks how people make snap judgments about you, like just solely based on appearances. I remember when I was first getting into makeup, when I was around like 15, and the only thing I would really wear was red lipstick without any eye makeup, and looking back at it, it's like really bad. It was not a good look for me. But to be fair, I was 14 and I was trying to experiment with stuff and, you know, try out different looks. And one of my friends would always give me like dirty looks every time I did that. Literally, just leave me alone. Like, the lipstick isn't hurting anybody. You know, I'm just a 14-year-old girl trying to try something else with her look. And you're putting me down with a single look. So I feel like I am a decently confident person, and I feel like a lot of that confidence has come in the past couple of years through my wearing makeup and finding out what looks good on me, and, you know, buying new clothes and just like finding things that make me feel confident and look confident. Obviously, I still have a lot of flaws and insecurities, and I don't think I'm totally 100% there. I don't know if anyone is 100% there, really. I don't want to sit here and be like, be confident, love yourself, because we all know that's not that easy. The truth is, everybody is insecure about something. The point is that beauty standards are toxic. I think there's a very fine line between confidence and cockiness. I think there's a saying that goes like, cockiness is thinking that you're better than everyone else, while confidence is thinking that nobody is better than you. And I think that's a very important quote. Self-worth is very internal and shouldn't have to be defined by other people. Unfortunately, that's just the way our society is structured. Something very important that I've learned is that you don't have to put other women down to lift yourself up. I used to compare myself to other girls all the time, and you know, if I saw a pretty girl, I would feel really threatened and just try to find one thing about them, something that I had over them. There was this really pretty girl in one of my math classes, and every time I looked at her, I just felt so uncomfortable and threatened because she was so pretty and I couldn't find anything wrong with her. But in reality, like, her beauty doesn't take away from mine. When my boyfriend thinks another girl is pretty, I feel very threatened, very angry, and I feel like maybe I think on some level in my head that just because he thinks that she's pretty, he's gonna leave me for her and then, you know, like her better or think about her while he's with me or compare me to her. In reality, I know he wouldn't do that because he loves me for me. But because I feel like so much of my confidence came from external validation through male attention and just people telling me that they think I'm pretty and like Instagram comments and stuff, it's hard to make the confidence that I already have be something that comes from within. It's very dangerous to have confidence come from an external source because in the end you can't really like count on anyone but yourself to, you know, be confident. I feel like if people didn't tell me that I'm pretty, if, you know, my boyfriend didn't tell me that I'm pretty, then I would not feel pretty. And it just really sucks that I can't just look myself in the mirror and be like, you're pretty and you're the only one who thinks so, but that doesn't matter, it's true. I can't think that. I just can't. It sucks that it has to come from external sources. And I think slowly I'm starting to feel confident from the inside and really just love myself. I also feel like Western beauty standards are really hard on Asian girls. Something that's not really okay is that sometimes I feel like a need to be tan. I know it doesn't look like it in this lighting, but I'm actually very, very pale. Very naturally pale. The only reason I'm tan is because I got sunburned mini golfing the other day, but I'm very naturally pale, and I think you're just gonna have to take my word for it. And there was a certain point where I just felt like I needed to be tan. Like, I was even considering putting on fake tan, and that was something that I never really thought about doing before. Fake tan isn't like a thing that Asian girls do, and I just kind of felt so pressured to be tan that I wanted to like go outside and like sunbathe. One time I posted a picture on Instagram, and someone was like, go get a tan, and I'm like, huh? Why do I need to go get a tan? Like, the fuck is wrong with you? I don't need a tan. You think I need a tan because of your stupid Western beauty standards. And I think as an Asian American girl, beauty is very complicated because the closer you get to Western beauty standards, the further you stray from your family's beauty standards. My mom hates it when I wear makeup. My entire family hated my blonde hair. And when I get dark, they always comment about how dark I am. And like how I should keep my pale skin safe from the sun. If you gain weight, you're too fat. In America, if you gain weight, you're thick and healthy. And if you're skinny, you're anorexic. In the end, it comes down to all these like conflicting perspectives. So you're like, the fuck am I supposed to look like then? So you really have to just decide what is beautiful to you and what you want to look like. Either way, there's going to be people who don't think that you're pretty and people who think that you are pretty. And I think that's fine. You obviously can't appeal to everybody unless you're like, who's really hot? Angelina Jolie. Because you don't see a lot of Asian women in media, even though I feel like that's slowly starting to change, but even still, like when I was growing up, there was like no Asian women in media at all. And it was very easy to have this idea of beauty be very white. White girls in America are conventionally beautiful. Like, have you seen Miss USA? They're the ones we see in magazines. They're the ones we see in movies. It's literally so much of a thing that when I was hanging out with my current boyfriend for the first time at the beach, we were hanging out as a group, and this random white girl just came up to us and started hitting on him. I was like, well, that's it for me. He's not gonna go for the Asian girl. He's gonna pick the white girl over me. Even though the only reason he was there at the beach was because he wanted to hang out with me. He asked me out on a date that same day. Basically, he picked me over the white girl, and I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that at all. And it really sucks that I thought that way, but that's just what happened. In movies and TV shows, like, even though you know it's not real, the guy never goes for the Asian girl. It's not Ross and Julie, it's Ross and Rachel, you know? Finding confidence is very interesting and has been very interesting to me because I'm a very type A person. Being confident is not something that's just automatic, you know? If you're not confident, there's very few things you can do to change that right away. As a type A person, I'm always trying to like figure stuff out step by step. And like whenever there's a problem, I want to solve it step by step. Everything is usually very methodical and very like planned out for me. But if I'm not confident, what am I supposed to do about it? I mean, I used to think that first step was get a butt. And once I checked that off my list, I would finally feel confident. Even though in reality, even if I did get a butt, I would probably still find something else to hate about myself. So yeah, it's very much of a journey. I feel like I still struggle a lot with feeling pretty without makeup. Right now I feel like I look pretty good because I have makeup on. But when I don't have makeup on, a while ago I filmed this video, just a regular weekend in my life. That weekend I just happened to not wear any makeup. And I decided not to post that video because I didn't like how I looked without makeup in it. And even though it would have been a good video, I just didn't feel confident enough to post that video as is. And that kind of sucks. I think it's okay to like makeup. I think it just comes down to how you feel without it. I like makeup, and I want to keep wearing it. But I don't want to rely on it to the point where it's like if I don't have makeup on, I feel ugly, you know? I noticed that I'm most confident when I'm in the gym. When I'm lifting weights, there's just something about making eye contact with yourself in the mirror while you're like sweating and like working hard and, you know, your muscles are bulging. There's just something about that makes me go like, ooh yeah, I love myself right now. That sounds weird, but that's just the case. And final verdict, I think I should go to the gym more often because that's where I feel the most confident. So I think to be confident, I think you just have to find out what makes you feel confident. Even though that sounds really obvious and stupid. And I don't know if this video was good or not, but yeah, I think that's all I really have to say. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in next week's video, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!